My friends, the great experiment.
Prodigy.
Prodigy. Hidden. Trick.
Would you look at that?
The greatest trick.
And you people, you're all astronauts on some kind of Star Trek.
The greatest trick.
Welcome to Greatest Trek. It's a new Star Trek podcast from the makers of The Greatest Generation. I'm Adam Pranica.
I'm Ben Harrison. Rainy day here in LA.
Yeah, we were just comparing rain hair. Both of us have kind of a short walk out to the studio, kind of a backyard studio situation for us both.
Yeah.
And in just those brief seconds, we're looking like the characters from Seinfeld when the water pressure got low in the apartment.
You too, huh?
Yeah. It's tragic. I think we're also both dealing with like overdue for a haircut hair, which I feel like it really like lives on either extreme. It's either like, wow, that looks fucking great, you should just like do it long for a while, or like, woo, the like Wookiee thing really isn't working for you, man.
It's like you're inside my brains. Because I don't know how your hair grows, but like mine definitely grows more in the back. Mm-hmm. And it creates this kind of mud flap of hair.
Yeah.
It's not becoming. It's not even like a mullet. Like at least a mullet is cool. My hair doesn't grow down. It just grows back. It gives me like if the Conehead aliens had the cone like going backwards, like the racing bike helmet that Pee-wee wears.
Oh yeah, sure.
In the fantasy Tour de France scene. Mm-hmm. Like that's how I feel like I look in profile. I fucking hate it. And then, like you're saying, I'll wake up one day and my hair will look fucking great. Like that's how it's supposed to be.
I mean, those off days, you do get a lot of great slapstick gags out of it. Like you turn your head too quickly and it like knocks a guy over behind you.
Yeah.
You lean your head back in the movie theater and it flumps onto somebody's lap.
Ugh. Ugh. God, every once in a while the phone will serve me the memory photo of years between 2020 and 2021 and a half, and it's like shoulder length dipshit hair. Like, ain't nobody looking good that way.
Yeah. It was a tough time.
Yeah, just hey iPhone, don't show me those photos. Those aren't treasured memories to me.
The problem is my barber is biting my rhyme. I'm the guy that's always getting sick, not my barber.
What's wrong with Ben this time? And this is what's prevented you from getting in there?
I had a hair appointment like over a week ago. Barber had to cancel on me because homesick. We rescheduled for a couple of days later. Then I was sick. We rescheduled for a couple of days later. Then he was sick again.
Oh shit! I'm all tangled up. Ah!
Oh man! So what's just for the people not watching on the live stream? Adam tried to take off a garment, tried to dump him out, and
yeah.
His headphone cable got all wound up there. I mean, it seemed like it was partly tangled up in your headphone cable and partly your shirt jacket was tangled up in the shelf of hair sticking off the back of your head.
I'm sorry to hear about your stylist, Ben. No doubt, really missing working over that head of hair. One of the great heads of hair in all of podcasting, not just Star Trek podcasting.
Yeah. I mean,
have you seen the competition out there?
Let's just say Matt Myra wishes.
Matt Myra beginning to catch strays on the Uxbridge-Shimoda family of shows. A delight. These are play strays.
Yeah,
that we're shooting.
Play strays, but I'd say both of our heads of hair suffering from being collapsed into the quantum state of looking bad. When your hair is overgrown, it could be both good or bad, but under observation, or the observer's paradox, you might say, looking bad.
I mean, like if you would put your head in a box and we had to do the show, I'd like, who knows if you've gotten a haircut or not until I open the box.
Right.
You're talking about Schrodinger's hair?
I think that was maybe it was Wittgenstein's banana. Anyways, we're dangerously close to demonstrating what giant idiots we are. So let's talk about Star Trek. It's season 2, episode 5 of Star Trek Prodigy, Observer's Paradox.
You know the greatest danger facing us is an irrational fear of the unknown.
On my mark, go fast.
Where we open on the Voyager, during a Janeway's log, and she's in full damage control mode, isn't she?
Yeah. Damage
and blame mode, I should probably say.
Who is responsible for what just happened that maybe doomed Chakotay to being lost in time?
Yeah.
And also doomed Gwyn to being lost to non-existence.
When you're on Star Trek and you're in a leadership position, this is the time for the tribunal, right? You just pivot to tribunal any chance you get. And this time is no different. It's kind of a diet tribunal, like for kids, you know? Like how sometimes like you'll see the kid font, like the crayon font of like the daycare center or the tutoring.
Happy Captain Picard Day sign.
There's like a backwards K or like a K where there should be a C instead, you know, like the cute K.
My mom spent 30 years as a public school educator, specifically working as a resource specialist with kids with learning disabilities. And whenever she drove by a Toys R Us sign, she would rant and rave about how irresponsible it was for them to put that R backwards on that sign.
God damn irresponsible.
That's fun. That's always right on time. I don't know in the word tribunal which letter you would write backwards in crayon. I think it's probably the B, right?
Unfortunately, they just did the T and no one could tell.
So the whole group of prodigiers gets interrogated.
Oh, I came up with something in my notes today. The proteges, because they're Janeway's proteges. And also George Costanza is there, and there's an episode of Seinfeld where they talk about, oh, he's my protege. Oh, he's my mentor.
The thing about that word is it's so close to prodigy, it's going to be a trip up every time.
Yeah.
I'm going to want to call them prodigies is what I'm saying.
We've been calling them that.
Why don't we call them prodigies? Like, what's our barrier there? It's in the name of the show.
I've been doing it.
I can't cross that Rubicon. I don't know why.
When I was a teenager, I did a hilarious prank call into the rock and roll radio station asking them to play the song Smack My Bitch Up by Prodigy. And the poor intern that had to answer the phone did not find that amusing.
You were a real jerky boy back then, weren't you?
It's a wonder my comedy career ever took off.
Yeah. Yeah, how you doing? Who's in charge over there?
Ben's Jerky Boys CD is like 200 tracks, and it's just like requesting a song, the confused intern going, what? And then hanging up.
What an idiot! Ha! He didn't even get my strained pun.
Like when you're in animation, I feel like a lot of the weight of expression has to be on the face, right?
Sure.
Getting the eyes and the brow and the mouth to suggest a feeling about a thing. But what this show really does a lot, and it's something that I noticed in this scene, is it gets the body positions right.
Yeah.
Like it's not just about the look on someone's face, it's about like a slouch or like an anti-slouch, like a very professional sort of tented hand situation.
Right.
Like Majel has. Like as we go through all of the kids responding to the interrogation, you get all of these different flavors, and they are all in like a medium shot, so you can consume all of these different body positions.
The one thing that I noticed in this scene that was kind of a continuity error was Janeway pours some coffee into a mug from a carafe that is significantly smaller than the coffee mug. Aaron Welke, what the fuck is that, man?
Is that a Section 31 locker situation?
It might be, yeah. Like the carafe is much bigger on the inside than it is on the outside.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this montage does not do anything to dispel the idea of chaotic Murf. You know, it's character game. It's Dal being too nonchalant. It's Rok-Tahk being overly guilty, even though Rok-Tahk didn't actually even go on the adventure.
Rok-Tahk's ban isn't Rok-Tahk.
Yeah. Is my mouth horrifying?
Your teeth are so much better than Rock Talk's, though. I would never compare your dental work to Rock Talk.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Out on the corridor, they kind of post-game the tribunal. They're like, I don't think they believed us, is what the kids are saying. And inside, they're like, I don't believe those kids. Mm-hmm. Kind of a fun sequence of moments there.
They also don't know what's going on with the entity that we've seen represented several different ways. Maybe that's 3 different entities or 4 different entities, or maybe it's all one entity, but they want to figure out what the orb was specifically talking to them outside the hole earlier.
There's coffee in that mysterious entity.
Janeway orders everyone to start looking into things. Mark's job is going to be keeping an eye on the proteges.
Is your understanding that the ship has a full complement of folks inside? Yeah. Because when Dr. Mark gets assigned to be babysitter, there's no other medical situation happening on board at this point. Or maybe there is, and they just think Dr. Mark's unique talents would be better used on these kids.
I mean, the beaming himself around willy-nilly-ness of Dr. Mark is very helpful.
They're not exactly grounded to their quarters, though. Like, the scene after this is in the mess hall. They worked up an appetite getting interrogated. And probation's pretty bad, they all agree, but it's not the worst thing to happen to them, right?
Yeah, Gwen is a little bit bummed, not just that she lost her heirloom, but also that she doomed her planet and will probably cease to exist at some point soon.
Yeah, they have kind of a probation measuring contest, and she kind of wins, doesn't she?
She takes out just enough to win, let's just say.
Yeah.
Would you look at that?
In walks Majel, who has to make the impossible choice, Ben, of who to sit with in the cafeteria, her old friends or her new friends. Which did you think she would decide on?
It was not a surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
Was that were there places you couldn't sit in high school? Did you ever have an experience like that in a lunchroom where you wanted someone to sit with you and they iced you out?
No, I mean, it seemed like people mostly stuck to their own tables. Like, we had really big round tables in our cafeteria, and they would seat 12 people or whatever.
Yeah.
And most of the time, the same people sat at the same table, so there wasn't really an ice out moment that I noticed, either at anyone or incoming. Like
the way that Norm and Cliff are always kind of at that one corner of the bar.
For a couple of years, there was an outside couple of picnic benches and stuff under an awning. And no matter what time of year, me and my friends would choose that table. So we would freeze our fucking asses off eating a pizza pockets outside, bundled up in our winter coats for 45 minutes during lunch hour.
Was there an opening montage of a teen rom-com where the new kid in school is being led around by kind of a fast-talking member of the AV club, and he's like, you got your jocks, you got your burnouts, you got your cowboy kids, you got your cold boys, and that's when the camera swishes over to you?
I was a cold boy. Yeah, I was. And because I was a kid, that's a backwards K written in crayon. That's how that's branded.
Mm-hmm. It's just the third K is backwards, so that there's no confusion.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that kid struck out looking.
So Dal is talking about how he wants to redeem the whole group by figuring out where Chakotay is and seeing if they can get him to deposit the protostar in the baby kitty prison so that the timeline can be preserved. Rock Talk continues to react very badly to Dal's no time for backup, no such thing as a no-win scenario attitude. And is sort of in the midst of a panic when it is revealed that Murf has been stealing food off of all of their trays to make a mandala on the floor. This is the same spiral that Gwen saw in her vision when she was in the bottom of the Valura hole.
This is the only way Murf can communicate, using the junk he's taken off of people's trays. He kind of pantomimes and squeaks. This is all Chaos Murf can do.
Yeah.
And in blurps Dr. Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Wondering what all this hubbub is about. Hey, I heard the squeaking from a couple of decks away. He blurps in, and he doesn't want to just be a chaperone security guard figure. He wants to be kind of the cool chaperone security guard figure.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, he asks you if you caught the game while he shines the flashlight in between you and the girl you're dancing with.
How do they get rid of him? Like, they're going back and forth over the communicators. Like, this guy fucking sucks. And a few of them try to leave their quarters and they run straight into his legs. Like, this guy's everywhere. How do they do it? They have to appeal to his vanity, his great sense of vanity. So Zero asks him about his book that he's working on, and that's all it takes.
Oh, I'd be delighted to walk you through it. It's entitled Love in the Time of Holograms. The plot involves a physician.
So Zero catches one for the team and wanders around the ship while Dr. Mark summarizes his new holonovel, and Dal initiates Operation What the Heck is Murf Saying? And this starts with trying to solve the problem in a pretty conventional way, which is just there's some problem with the universal translator. We need to modify the universal translator to accommodate Murphy's. And, you know, Gwyn is a talented linguist and Jankum is a talented wrencher. And they're like trying to do like physical modifications to a communicator to do this. But when they fire it up, some words come out, but they are super loud and totally incoherent.
Salad words.
Sure. Tossed even.
These questions are birthday basements. To end the blue radish is the upside of luxury, and sparking a good lizard can only make tears fall in hindsight.
He seems to be panicked by what's happened. This is an interesting thing that Chaos Murph does. Mm-hmm. His squeaks turned into the word salad, and then he runs off.
Right. It's not even like he's speaking in metaphor. Like there's no like sentence structure even.
No. So later, Gwyn and Dal work on figuring out what Murph's spiral is all about in the Starfleet database. And it's not a sort of thing that, like, you can't take a picture of it and input it into the database. You have to kind of A/B it at a laptop.
So do you think that they just were like, show me spirals, and then kind of Family Feud some of the top spirals in Starfleet?
I think that's exactly what's happening here. And this is another moment where you see like the physicality depicted in this animation, right? And they go so far as to like cut directly to these gestures. You see Dal's fingers kind of tense on the desk.
Yeah.
You see Gwyn kind of like hugging her arms to her body in a way that nervous people can sometimes do.
The fingers tensing on the desk was such a beautiful little detail. I almost forgot about that weird inconsistency with the size of the coffee urn earlier.
Yeah. So you get a sense for how they're both feeling here. Dal seems very focused on Gwyn's well-being, and it's something she's still dealing with. She's not okay, and Dal is not going to make her okay.
No.
In any way. He's just trying to be there.
They do find a matching spiral to the one that Gwyn saw and the one that Murph made, and it is the spiral from Chakotay's tapestry that he always like hangs up in sickbay when he's super sick or when somebody else is super sick.
Remind me to ask Aaron Walke how close they came to slipping in a little pan flute here. The way Voyager used to.
Sounds great.
Do you think that they considered getting some consultation notes from that charlatan that claimed he was an American Indian on Voyager, just for old time's sake? Like, tell us some stuff. Come on.
I mean, you get all the hits here. Like, that guy kind of does deserve a credit for all of the details that are exhumed from Chakotay's past, like the rubber tree people and where he's from and so forth. Like,
totally.
It's all there. That was pre-written.
It's in there, and that's a bona fide clue for these kids to run down. But we cut away to Bay 3, where Janeway is talking to Commander Tysus and Counselor Gnome, and They're speculating that the orb that they saw in space may have been Chakotay trying to communicate with them, which kind of came as a surprise to me. Like, I felt like we'd seen some things to indicate that it was not Chakotay.
Here's the main indication to me that it's not Chakotay. If it was Chakotay, wouldn't you identify yourself kind of early on in order to establish, like, to speed toward trust? Like, as soon as you say you're Chakotay, okay, I trust what you're saying. I'm going to do what you're saying. By leaving it a mystery, if it is Chakotay, you fucked up. That's fucking dumb. And you're allowing for the sort of doubt that we're seeing in this scene.
Yeah. So they're kind of in the middle of talking about that when Admiral Jellico calls up to cancel the mission. Mission over, close up the hole. We can't just have some time hole hanging out there. That's no good for any of us. And, sad to see Chakotay go, but we love to watch him leave. You've got your orders, Admiral Janeway.
The mission is over.
What do you make of Janeway's mealy defense of Gwyn's life here? Because what she tells Jellico is like, yeah, so there's a person on board that may be affected by the closing of the hole. And that's like, that is so neutral.
Yeah.
How could you not say it's more dire than that? I don't know. Like, if I'm Jellico and I hear that, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, study the effects or whatever.
Yeah.
But we got to close this thing up.
If you're Jellico, be honest, you're like, what shift does she work on? 4th?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Get it done.
There's a, God, I feel like I'm really noticing a lot of these animation choices, but there's like an angle to Jellico's face as he talks that is just so Ronnie Coxian. Like, they perfectly capture him in all of these moments in a really fun way.
We need to score a lot of laps fast.
Licensed businessman.
Well, there's a new ship. She's got the right name. She's got the right name. Now, you remember that, you hear?
I was surprised as we catch back up with the kids that Murf is now seeming to be frustrated with his inability to communicate. Murf has never seemed to mind that he couldn't say anything to anyone, but now pissed off, and they've kind of run out of ideas, so they go to Rock Talk for help, and Rock Talk has been off with Jillian the whale, who is notably not that horny.
I love that the whale's named Jillian. Isn't that nice?
It's nice. I mean, she looks like a Jillian.
I mean, Dr. Jillian wasn't particularly horny herself, was she? Mm-hmm. The way she denied Kirk? Or was she horny, but just for someone else?
All I can think of is your slash fic about Dr. Jillian tugging Kirk off in the pickup truck. So,
God, those slash fics were fun. Got to bring those back.
Yeah. What gives?
I've been just writing them and keeping them to myself. That's the problem.
They convince Rock Talk to help, and Rock Talk starts to science the shit out of this problem and comes up with the idea that Murf might be an aquatic life form, and therefore some of these sounds need to be heard underwater to be translated. And Jillian offers to help, so they're going to put Murf into the drink. And, man, if you thought Rock Talk's mouth was upsetting, wait until you see Rock Talk's Bane mask.
I felt exactly the opposite as you. I think this is a high watermark, if you pardon the figure of speech, for how Rock Talk looks. Covering up that mouth with the rebreather. Hell yeah. Never looked better. Never looked less upsetting.
Oh, more upsetting in my view. Because it accentuates how demonic Rock Talk's eyes are, which are easy to ignore when you're just scared of her mouth.
Yeah, but her voice totally undoes any sort of baneness in visual that you get.
I promise. Jillian's going to love you.
One thing I noticed about Murf getting into the water, maybe for the first time, maybe stupidly. Have you noticed this, Ben? Murf doesn't wear clothes.
Murf is an always nude.
Why is he permitted to be naked all the time is a question that I had.
You will follow Starfleet uniform code aboard this ship, Ensign.
So as Rock Talk gathers him into her arms and bosom and jumps into the water. I was thinking this as they floated down to the bottom. I'm thinking this while Murph is has Murph-manned himself into like gills and flippers and stuff.
Yeah.
Swimming all around. He's making his squeaks. Jillian the whale's able to translate.
I mean, I guess Rock Talk was nude for most of the time.
Right.
Season 1, right?
Yeah. And what Jillian translates is a bunch of letters. DMEFIN. What the hell does that mean? And then it's revealed that Chaos Murph is dyslexic, and it's actually F denim, which makes sense because Murph is such an anti-pants person.
Right. Yeah. Those little Daisy Dukes that everybody wants him to wear in the shower? No way!
Yeah. Yeah. So they rearrange the letters again, and it's find me. And then there's also a bunch of numbers, too. And the numbers do not correspond to a pant size.
54 waist, 10-inch legs, fucking junk.
I already looked that up. That doesn't fit. What do the numbers mean?
Nobody ever ponders the idea that maybe the numbers are also out of order.
Yeah. Hey, no one ponders that Jillian's actually the one that's fucking this up. Maybe Jillian's the one that's transposing the letters and the numbers incorrectly, and that's not Murph.
Chaos Jillian.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, on the bridge, they prepare to doom Chakotay to being lost in time by collapsing the hole. And there's a brief moment where Counselor Nome gets up and kind of speaks for the crew and says, like, we don't agree with the choice that Starfleet Command has made here. We'll follow your orders, but we think this fucking sucks.
Where does this counselor get the gramba, Ben? Can you imagine any counselor we've ever seen on a Star Trek show doing this?
I feel like Troy would speak up if she thought something was like morally out of bounds.
I think Culber is the only one that would across all of Star Trek.
Yeah,
and even then it would be like, all right, pipe down, Culber.
Yeah, but he's a doctor, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like this retreat by Janeway. She's like, thanks for the support. I know you've got my back, but we got to do this thing, and I can't even watch. Like deal with it. I'm going to go to the ready room.
Yeah.
And while she's in there, she goes to her trinket shelf, and she thinks of Chakotay, and we flash back.
Before I go, this is for you.
And it's like a little miniature bathtub that he's carved out of a piece of stone.
I love a bath. It's my favorite way of relaxing.
He tells her it's blue, like my balls. And I used my rock-hard cock to carve the shapes. This is what you do to me, babe. Now I'm going out there, and I don't know if I'm coming back.
She gives the order. Despite this,
Fire.
we see the whole blip out of existence.
I was a little confused when the torp goes out and then it gets shot by the beam. I was like, oh, did they decide to change their mind?
Yeah.
No, this is all part of the plan. They shot a thing and they blew it up with the beam.
Yeah, the beam was part of it.
Yeah.
But Murph swims up to Gwen and through indicating at her phase armband, she realizes that the numbers that have been put up on the glass are armband frequencies. And so she dials this frequency in.
Rotary telephone style.
Yeah.
Not like hitting buttons. I love this detail.
Or like those modern thermostats, you know, with the color screen.
Yeah.
Like she's doing one of those. And she shows up floating in space. And I was like, oh shit, the numbers were out of order. She showed up floating in space. She's going to die now.
It sucks. Gwen starts messing with her thing. And like the Voyager A is basically a big Airbnb. And she doesn't have the permission to set the thermostat lower than a certain temperature.
And it's fucked up because even though there are guardrails put on the thermostat, she gets like a charge because that's against the policy of the place.
It's so tedious.
It's like, oh, that was on page 15 of the fucking binder I had to read. You know what doesn't have a binder full of fucking rules I have to familiarize with myself with every time I check in? A hotel.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's cheaper than this now.
Amazing.
Anyways, she shows up in space. She kind of jumps to warp and gets another find me message. And it's very scary.
Find me before they do.
And then she struggles against some unseen force to get her hand back on her armband.
Do you think she was being invisible King Kong'd? Was she kind of restrained?
Oh.
I say invisible King Kong'd like everyone knows what that means.
Yeah,
everyone knows what that means.
Yeah. Everybody knows what it means to Superman that hoe. Everyone knows what it means to invisible King Kong that hoe.
Right.
She blips herself back to reality, and even though we didn't see anything to indicate what she found out in her vision quest, she tells the proteges she knows where to find Chakotay.
Somewhere in that spiral. So it's kind of like a cool, good information? Question mark.
Would you like to find out who the associate producer of this episode was?
Who?
I don't know. It's just who, whatever the name is that scrolls on the credits as it rolls.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
Did you like this episode of Star Trek Prodigy, Adam?
She'll always bring it home.
It kind of felt like that ending was a weird ending to me because it kind of feels like the big epiphany is throwing an entire star chart at the feet of the group of kids, being like, he's in there somewhere. Not quite enough information for a capital D on the Duns.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
I think we're going lowercase D's on the Duns here.
With 20 episodes a season, you get lowercase D Duns.
I would agree. If you go capital D the whole way through, eventually you're just going to get desensitized to the Duns.
You can't do capital D only. Come on.
No.
It's not going to feel like anything eventually.
Like I said before, I think my favorite parts of this episode were all the little details. This was an episode fairly low on exposition. The big reveals weren't, capital R reveals, I guess, in this context. So I think what you are left to appreciate is a lot of the other things that make this show really interesting, a lot of the choices that are made. And I thought that moment was especially poignant at the end between Chakotay and Janeway. It has been a while since you've seen them together, even as a memory, and I think you need to be reminded of how close they are instead of just hearing about it through other people. So, yeah, those were my positives. What about you?
I enjoyed it as well. I think that this show's strengths are in its characters and really knowing what those characters are all about. And this is a great example of that. Every character is doing exactly what they would do, and it's causing the kinds of problems it would cause as they contend with this bigger challenge. And I like that their instinct is always to come back together. Even when Rock Talk is really pissed at them or whatever, eventually it's time to team back up. So yeah, fun ep.
Even though I don't think anyone was sure that Murf could breathe underwater, when Rock Talk grabbed Murf and jumped in, you just don't know what's going to happen at that point. A lot of trust being extended.
Well, do you want to see if there's any trust being extended to us with people's messages in the P1 inbox?
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Ben, we got a Priority 1 message here of a personal nature. It's from Patrick in Virginia, and it's to all federal FODs everywhere. This is FFODs, which is something very different if you go to the mission log Discord and they say that there. That's not in reference to federal Friends of DeSoto.
No.
I actually don't know what that means over there, but I don't think it's this.
That probably meant in good fun, right?
Oh, GFFODs would be good fun, Friends of DeSoto.
Oh, yeah.
Ben, here's how that message goes. It breaks my heart to see she who is my wife, a dedicated VA employee, be treated like a lazy, stupid, untrustworthy POS by Mirror Universe Chris Brenner. No drop. Elon doesn't deserve one, in parentheses. To all federal FODs living through this nightmare administration, just know that millions of Americans see you and appreciate you and your work. You're not alone. So I think that confirms that this is not an FFODs on some different Discord situation. These are federal FODs.
These are federal FODs who are getting jerked around by a bunch of jerks. And yeah.
How many federal FODs have we met on tour stops in or around DC? So many.
Pretty significant number. And
so many good folks.
Yeah. And not just DC. I mean, all over the place.
Yeah.
And our hearts go out to you if you're getting jerked around by these people. It sucks. It's a bummer.
Yeah.
But maybe this next P1 will pull us out of this sad mood. This is of a promotional nature. It goes like this. Tabletop game-loving FODs in the Twin Cities and online. My friend Hunter runs a Mercury Adventure Club and runs games like D&D and Star Trek Adventures. The Game Masters bring lots of energy and great storytelling to your game. For kids, Mercury offers summer D&D day camps. They'll play, paint minis, learn to run games, and more. Adult gamers can try out games and meet new people, or book a game of your choice. So join the adventure at mercuryadventureclub.com or find us on Facebook.
That's right. It's gamers for adults only.
I hope that summer camp has a self-defense curriculum built in, you know?
All summer camps should, right? I mean, yeah, like how to get out of a locker from the inside.
Right, yeah. There's got to be a way. I never found it.
I love the name of that class having that in parentheses. How to get out of a locker, parentheses. There has to be a way.
That sounds super cool. I feel like I've seen Mercury Adventure Club getting profiled on social media before, and it looks like such a cool thing. A thing I wish I could have had access to as a kid and as an adult. I wish I was in the Twin Cities so I could go to there.
Yeah, I wish you had a better D&D game than the one you already have every week. That would be great, right?
That would rule. Well, thank you to everyone who got a P1 on today's episode. If you'd like to get one, head to MaximumFun.org/Jumbotron and book one. We've got lots of availability coming up. If you want it to be kind of timely, this is your opportunity.
Yeah. Get your message to the top of the list. Hey, Ben.
Ooh, what's that, Adam?
Did you find yourself a...
Breaks.
Bonus Freaks. Bonus Freaks.
I'm giving it to Gwyn for the decision to start punching numbers into her armband without doing anything to try to verify whether those numbers came in the right order after the letters very much did not come in the right order.
Who knows if where she blurped to is the correct place to be?
We can...
Like, what happened to her may just be incidental to this whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, you think you know where to find Chakotay? Maybe you know where to find a different guy. Did you ever consider that, Gwyn?
Yeah, maybe that deep voice that she heard out in space that was invisible Konging her. Maybe that's a totally different dude. You ever think about that?
Did you ever consider that it might be Soulja Boy?
I'm going to make mine Dr. Mark. A character with a lot of years to become a little more self-aware, a little more self-actualized about what his specific character weakness could be, like his vanity about being a self-published author. If it's that easy to get him off your trail, I don't know. I think some soul-searching is required for Dr. Mark.
Yeah.
Can't you reprogram him or something?
Though maybe Janeway knew this when he was assigned the job of being security watch over the kids.
Sure.
Maybe she knew he would suck at that. Maybe she did it for fun.
She spent a lot of time with that guy. I think she knows.
Whatever gets him off the bridge.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's just about time to go, Adam. We're going to hear a little bit about what happens next week on the show from Wynde in the credits. But before we go, how about you hit the folks with a warning bois?
Ben, warning bois are messages that viewers share with strangers on social media in order to grow our audience. They're really important for attracting the sort of folks that would like what we do here while repelling those who just aren't on our level. And I think this warning bois is a great example of that.
Okay.
Prepare a buoy and launch it when ready.
Warning buoys.
An emergency buoy.
A warning buoy.
This one was posted to Reddit. Headline, "Well, we're waiting." And then a meme. It looks like 3 apes looking at each other, sitting on couches, asking, "Where pillows?" This, of course, relating to the brand new merch item in podshop.biz, pillows with our faces on them.
Yeah.
The least creepy merch item we've ever sold there. And they're absolutely flying off the shelves.
Astonishingly, that is true. The people are buying the pillows. No word on what they're doing with the pillows.
They're being used for some sick shit. Like I can't even think about that. I tried to discourage that with the ad for these that we recorded. I mean, once they're in the home of an FOD, they're out of our hands. There are no rules at that point.
You can get them as sticky as you want.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thanks to everyone who bought one, and thanks to who was it that posted that, Adam?
This was posted by Baltasotin.
Okay. Thanks, Baltasotin.
A classic combo of Baltimore and Minnesota.
Sure.
It's a hell of a combination.
Right?
That heady cocktail.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get out of here. Let's give the rest of the ep to Wynde. What do you say?
No pillow for Wynde in the story yet.
How about no?
I'm pretty sure she would just quit if we tried to do that. So
She would be very much in the right.
Thanks, Wynde.
Bye-bye.
Greatest Trek is an Uxbridge-Shimoda podcast on the Maximum Fun Network. It's hosted by Ben Harrison and Adam Pranica, and it's produced and edited by Wynde Priddy. Ben and Adam will be back next week with a review of Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, Episode 6. It's called Imposter Syndrome. Hoping to hijack the Infinity before its scheduled destruction, Dal and the crew create hologram doubles to cover for their absence. Thank you so much to all the Max Fun members who are supporting Greatest Trek with a monthly gift. If you want to join them and help keep the show going, set up your membership at MaximumFun.org/join, and you will get instant access to a ton of great bonus content. Thank you to Nick Dittmore, who created the show art, and Adam Ragusea, who composed the theme music. Thank you to Rob Adler and Bill Tilley for their work on the @GreatestTrek social media pages. Follow those accounts and use the hashtag #GreatestTrek when you post about the show online. We're also on YouTube, so make sure you're subscribed over there. And all of the merch from the show, including those pillows, is available at podshop.biz. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on Greatest Trek.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows
supported directly
by you.